Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video lecture, we are going to answer questions of Airfield from Keith Williams' performance book. In my previous lecture, I answered the first 6 questions, question 11 to question 16. In this video lecture, I'm going to answer 4 questions, 17, 18, 19 and 20. So let's start. 17. Question number Runway 04, threshold is 300 feet, runway 22, threshold is 320 feet. For both runways, takeoff run available is 4000 meter, accelerate distance available is 4500. What is the slope of runway 22? So let's draw the runway 04. So the runway, it's runway 0422, right? Now runway 04 is 300 feet. Runway 22 is higher than runway 04. So it is 320 feet. Okay. So we have to find the slope of runway 22. Now since runway 22 is higher than runway 04, if you take off from runway 22, you will be flying a down slope. You will experience a down slope. Okay, a down slope, a negative slope. So we will find the value. The takeoff run available at both places is 4000 meter. So what is the formula? The formula is slope equals to difference in elevation divided by takeoff run available multiplied by 100. So what is the difference between 300 and 320? It is minus 20 feet. Why are we writing minus sign? Because if taking off from runway 22, you are going to experience a down slope. Divided by 4000 meters, so 4000 multiplied by 3.28 feet into 100. So minus 2000 divided by 4000 into 3.28 is 13,120. So 2000 divided by 13,120 is minus 0.15 percentage. Okay, so alpha 0.15 percentage down. Next, question number 18. A contaminated runway. What is a contaminated runway? One on which more than 25% is covered with more than 3 millimeter depth of water or by slush or snow to an equivalent depth of more than 3 millimeter. A runway with more than 33% covered, one on which 25% is covered with 15 millimeter water, one in which 20% is covered with 2 millimeter standing water, snow or slush. So remember the correct answer is option A. You will have to remember the definition. A contaminated runway is a runway on which more than 25% of surface is covered with water which is more than 3 millimeter in depth or by slush or snow which has an equivalent depth of more than 3 millimeter. Okay, equivalent depth of more than 3 millimeter. So a contaminated runway definition is one in which more than 25% runway surface is covered with more than 3 millimeter depth of water or by slush, snow to an equivalent depth. Remember the term equivalent depth of more than 3 millimeter. Next, water equivalent depth is what? Water equivalent depth is equal to the actual depth multiplied by the specific gravity of the contaminant equal to the actual depth multiplied by the density of the contaminant equal to the amount of water in the contaminant, not relevant to snow or ice because this contain no free water. So, the term water equivalent depth is a means of comparing snow or slush with water. The water equivalent depth is equal to the actual depth of the snow or slush multiplied by specific gravity. For example, if the contaminant has a depth of 6 mm and a specific gravity of 0.5, its water equivalent will be 3 millimeter. So what is water equivalent depth if they ask you in any YY exam, SPL, ATPL, airline? So it's a method of comparing snow or slush with water. Okay. And then remember the formula. Multiplied by Actual depth multiplied by the specific gravity. A contaminated field is what? One on which 25%, more than 25% is covered with compact snow, one on which more than 33% is covered with 3 millimeter depth of water, plus snow to an equivalent depth of at least 3 millimeter, one on which more than 25% is covered with 15 millimeter water, one on which more than 20% is covered with more than 2 millimeter standing water, snow or slush. So, like I said before, the definition of a contaminated runway uh, lists three conditions, each of which qualify as contaminated. One of these conditions is snow, which has been compressed into a solid mass, which resists further compression and will hold together or break into lumps if picked up. This is compact snow. No minimum thickness is specified for this type of contamination. Okay, so correct answer will be there is no minimum thickness specified for snow. So Bravo, Charlie, Delta automatically eliminated option A. Only the surface must be covered with 25% of compact snow. What is a compact snow if they ask you? So it is a compact snow is one which can be compressed into solidity and can hold together or break into lumps, pieces. This is compact snow. So this is the meaning of that. So that's it. So this concludes the lecture, a very short lecture. I hope you have understood these four questions, how to do the numerical part, and the rest three questions were definition, contaminated runway, with respect to water, slush, snow, compact snow. Okay, so do these questions again. Remember the definitions, write the definitions 5 times, revise the definitions every day, at least once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and another time in the evening for a week. So when you do this consistently, automatically these definitions will get fitted in your brain and you won't forget it easily. Okay, so all the best. In my next video lecture, I will solve the next 10 questions. So do watch that video lecture.